Hi everyone, welcome back to my Animal Crossing New Horizons series, Villager Hunt. In the last few episodes, I've completed decorating my island and also talked with Isabel to confirm if it's a 5-star island. If you haven't seen my island yet, I'll put out a link for it at the end of this episode so you can go ahead and check it out. Anyway, today we'll be going ahead on a villager hunt. To be honest, I have reset my island a lot of times and focused more on decorating the island, but I've never focused on the villages that I had on my island. I think this is finally time for me to go ahead and do that. I have a list of villages that I really wanted to have on my island. Most of them I've never had, so I'm gonna try and invite one of them to my island today. As for the current villages in my island, here they are. But as you might see, there is one space left, and that was a space occupied by my very first villager Flo, who I was finally able to ask to leave. Anyway, we'll be going ahead and checking out for a couple different villages today. I'm going to put a list of villages that I definitely want to have right here on screen. Hopefully we'll be able to at least find one of them and invite them to my island. Now all of these are villages that are very famous and many people really like them. Unfortunately, I never got to actually invite any of these villages to my island till now. I mean, it's been 3 years since the game has released, but I've never thought of having one of them on my island. I think it's finally time for me to go ahead and try that out. Now, to be honest, not all of these are my favorite villages. There are a couple of them, especially cat villages, which are my favorite. But I've repeatedly had them on my island before and I'm trying to kind of avoid them. That's the reason why you might not see any cat villages over there. But if I do find a cat villager, it will be so tough for me to kind of resist it. Anyway, let's start this one out and see whom we can actually find out today. Alright, here we are on my first island. This is actually Astrid. I've seen her before and had her in my previous island. To be honest, I'm not really sure how I feel about these kangaroo villagers. I mean, some of them I really like, and there are some designs on some villagers that I am not really sure about. But as far as this goes, I think Astrid is pretty cool. Anyway, I decided to go ahead to the second island. Let's see which one it is this time. And it's Eric. Alright. For my previous island, I actually had a villager hunt for Eric. He's pretty cool and his house is one of my favorite. I think it looks super cool. But of course, I'm not looking for him, so we can move on. I'll also be going ahead and getting all the furniture from the island. Just because I'm trying to complete my catalog and this is an easier way to get them. So here we are on my third island. This time we have... I don't know who that is. I have never met this villager. But let's go ahead and talk to him. This actually reminds me, whenever I go on a villager hunt, I go on to kind of find a particular villager, but I end up getting another one to my island. I don't know if this happens to you, but it tends to happen to me a lot. That's why this time I decided to go ahead and have a list of villages and select any one of them who I find first. But of course, that was Biff. I have never seen him before, nor do I know how his house looks. But hopefully if anyone of you have had him on your island, let me know in the comment section. Anyway, on to the fourth island. Here we are. This one is a 2-story cliff island and we have Carrie here. Now there are certain deserted islands I think that are quite rare. I think there is a hybrid flower island which I've never found till now. I've used definitely around 200 or 400 tickets. So I'm pretty surprised that I've never seen some of these islands. Hopefully we'll get to see it in this run. Here's the fifth island and just by saying it, I found a new island. This is actually the Shark Island and I think this is the first time I'm visiting it. We do have Renee here, pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and try to fish up some sharks. After all, I'm trying to complete my fish catalog and I think this is an easier way to find some of them. Now it did take me a lot of time, but I was able to get all the sharks that I needed. So here we are on the sixth island. And we have AI. This is the first time I'm seeing this villager as well. I'm really not sure what I have to talk about his design. I mean, it is unique at least. Anyway, we are just gonna ignore him and go to the next one. Here is my 7th island and we have a big villager. I think his name is Cobb. He is another villager that I've never had before. I have seen him in villager hunts though. Since I'll be doing a lot of villager hunts, at least 9 of them for my island, I'll go ahead and keep a number on each of these villagers that I'm able to invite to my island. I think it will be pretty fun to see how fast I'll be able to find some of these villagers. Anyway, moving on to the next island. This is the 8th one and we have a monkey villager, Nana. Alright, another new villager that I've never seen. To be honest, this is my very first Animal Crossing game. So I'm very sorry if I did not recognize most of these animals, as it might be the first time I'm actually seeing them. Either way, here is my 9th island and we have is that a frog villager? Yep, it's Gigi and she is very purple. I guess that is how a couple of frogs are. Now it might sound a bit rude, but it's truly the first time I'm seeing some of these villagers, so my reaction to them would be definitely a shock, at least for this one. Well, I did decide to go ahead and talk to her once again before I came to my next one. This is my 10th island and we have a villager that we have seen before. This is Ozzy and I had him in my previous island. His house is also pretty unique and I really liked it. Let's quickly talk to him before moving on to the next one. Now, whenever I visit an island on a villager hunt, I really like to go ahead and talk to the villager or the animal at least once before I leave that island. Let me know in the comment section if this is something you do as well. As for me, it is something I have to do. I really can't stop myself. Even if it's a villager that I have seen before, I tend to go ahead and talk to them at least once. Here I am on my 11th island and we have Cat. She's pretty cool because I had her as my very first villager for my previous island. And since I was doing a cat themed island initially for that one, I had her for quite a long time before I had to let her go. She's a pretty cool villager and does have some unique dialogues. Here's my 12th island. I think that is the 12th one. I hope I have the count right. At least I do have the count right in my document where I'm actually writing this one down. Seems like we have a deer villager. Yup. Now I might be mispronouncing his name, but it might be Bay. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it though. I'm sorry if I did mispronounce it. Anyway, he was a villager in my previous island as well, and I think his house is pretty cool. I was actually going for a theme of wooden houses, which most of these villagers do have, and that was the main reason why I had them on my island. I think this is the first time I'm actually villager hunting for the villager itself and not for their house or how the way it actually looks. Here we are on my 13th island. Let's see which villager we have. And it is the sheep villager. I don't know what's it with me and sheep villagers. Whenever I tend to go on a villager hunt, I always seem to get more sheep villagers than the other ones. So I'm very surprised to see this is the very first sheep villager I'm actually seeing today. Moving on to my 14th island, we have another one of those common occurring islands, but let's see which villager we have here. I'm really hoping I'll be able to find some rare islands here, but we have Fuchsia, pretty cool. I think I had her in one of my previous islands before I restarted them. I'm not really sure which one because I had like 5 of them before this. But she is a pretty cool villager. But I did see a lot of deer villagers in this one. I think we have seen already 4 of them. If I was doing a deer villager hunt for my island, I think it would have been super easy. Either way, here we are in our 15th island and we have Stitches. Alright, so we found our very first villager for my island. Stitches was one of the villagers I wanted to find in my list. So I'm pretty happy to see him right here in my 15th ticket. Let's go ahead and talk to him to invite him to my island. Personally, I've seen Stitches a lot in my friends' islands, and I always wanted to have him on mine, but I never had his theme for my island before. Since I was seeing villagers for their houses, I never thought of inviting him. So this is the first time we're getting to see not only him on my island, but also I'm getting to see the interior design of his house. Alright, there we go. He has agreed to come to my island. I'll go ahead and time travel to the next day so we can actually see his house. I think I'm also having a really good start for the number of counts on each of these villages. 15 is pretty good. Let me know in the comment section which was the very less amount of tickets that you used to invite a villager to your island. I'm pretty interested in knowing on that. And before I time travel, I did make some changes to my island. The giant flower that was right next to Bone's house, I've shifted it here. And I did get a couple of newer items which I was talking about. The first one is this water tray right here, which is a limited kind of item. And in place of the giant flower, which I think I had placed around this cliff here, I've gone ahead and placed another item. So here it is. There's also another item that I did find, which is the stone lantern right here. It's a different design from the one I have a DIY recipe for. On to the next day, we have Stitches on my island. Here is his house, pretty unique. Let's see how the interior is. Although I don't think he has unpacked yet. I think his house has all the furnitures from the items that we usually get from our mom. That is what I've seen in his house when I did visit one of my friend's island. Maybe I am wrong, maybe I'm right, I'm not really sure. But I think his items are pretty cool. Either way, I am pretty excited on having him on my island. In the next episode, we will be going on more villager hunt and trying to see if we can find other villages. Here's the list of all of them that are left. Hopefully I'll be able to find them as easy as this one, but I highly doubt it. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and put a like. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to my channel and supporting me. If you like to support me in a personal way, check out the links in my description. And I'll see you guys in the next one.